Welcome to the Super Breakdown Podcast, where cosmic tales unfold. Join Power Maximus, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy Jason M40 on a journey through heroic realms, where legends are born and destinies entwine. Delve into the cosmic currents, unraveling the mysteries of superheroes, villains, and champions. Embrace the cosmic energy that binds us all, and let your journey begin. This is the Super Breakdown Podcast. Enter the cosmic saga.
Whoa. Whoa. What is this? What is this? Are we back? Are we back?
I guess so.
I guess we are.
Feels like it.
I never want to take another break that long again. Never. I never want to do it, man. I was missing this. I mean, me and Triage, we got our fix on the Saturdays because we are doing the Indie versus matchup on Saturdays now as well. So please make sure you tune in on Saturdays around 5:30 here on this channel. Shout out to Midnight Comics and the Indie Breakdown, Indie versus Breakdown. Oh my God, you guys are amazing. So we are back. This is the Super Breakdown. I am Power Maximus. We're here with everyone's favorite demigod, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy himself, Jason M40. And we are very, very honored to be joined by the one, the only Darth Toshi J of Midnight Comics. Thank you for joining us for Star Wars Month, and I am truly excited that you are here.
Oh, yeah. I've been meaning to get here for Star Wars Month forever because I am a Star Wars nerd. So,
just like the rest of us. Triage, how has your hiatus been?
Refreshing.
What about you, Jay?
Refreshing. I like that word. It was good, man. It was good.
Good. All right. And Tashi, how has your Mother's Day been, and how has your week been?
Mother's Day was decent. I didn't really do nothing today. Last night we went to see a play, and then we went to a bar and had shots, and so I was really too tired to do anything.
that sounds good anyways. Either way, that sounds great.
That
sounds great. All right, so we are all gathered here today to allow the dark side to just flow. And as we all know, peace is a lie.
Peace is a lie. There's only passion.
And through passion,
you gain strength.
And from strength,
you gain power.
And through power,
take victory.
Huzzah! Gungala. Oh man. So today we are talking about Darth Revan, who is we hear him. I don't think we've ever heard him talk about within the actual films, right? I've never heard his name uttered within the films.
A lot of them are. That's a damn problem.
Yep.
Yes. So this, for those of you who played the Old Republic, which is a amazing Star Wars game. If you haven't played Old Republic, find it somewhere. I don't even know. Are the servers even still up?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't know. It's such an old game that I don't even know if the servers are even still up and running. But it was absolutely an amazing game. Revan is, would you say, one of the strongest Sith Lords, or just one of the most important Sith Lords?
I'd say both.
Yeah, I would say both.
Not gonna lie, I missed the first half.
No, yeah, so for me, I'm not, I know why Revan is important, at least in the terms of when it comes to Darth Bane and his importance to Bane.
And Darth Nihilus, low key.
Oh,
Yeah.
and Darth Nihilus. Yep, absolutely right.
Very true.
And that's the thing. I actually didn't learn about his connection to Nihilus until I'd say about like a month ago. Yeah, I had no clue. That's interesting. So we'll definitely touch on that. We'll get into that as well. But yeah, let's get into it. Darth Revan triage. Would you like to lead us?
Okay, yeah, not a problem. So when people talk about Revan is usually classified as many things by many different people or groups. Some people think of Revan as like a savior. Some people think of him as a conqueror. Some people think of him as a hero. Some people think of him as a villain. He's classified as both sometimes a Jedi and sometimes a Sith. Now, once again, I speak solely for myself in this moment because I think gray Jedi fucking suck. There is no gray Jedi. But Revan is one of the few people who I think finds the focal point between the light and the dark.
I mean, he did master both sides.
So and kind of like so is it in the same way that Mace did, or is it on a whole nother level?
Whole nother level.
Yeah.
Whole nother level. Okay. Yeah, for the this is going to be an educational episode because again, like I said, I'm not very in depth in Darth Revan specifically, so this is going to be educational for me. So in what way, when you say that Toshi, when you say that he mastered, when you guys say that he mastered both sides, in what way? How so?
This man is literally, first off, a genius.
Mm-hmm.
In the way that he was able to be both a Jedi and a Sith multiple times and quickly mastered every form of everything he ever learned.
Whoa.
Yeah, that is also true.
Whoa. Okay. To my extent of knowing, so he started out as a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Jedi then turned Sith, which we see a lot of, and then which we don't see a lot of is then Sith turned back Jedi.
We do not.
That's the part right there that has actually drawn me in to want to learn more about Darth Revan, because normally when a Jedi air quotes falls to the dark side, there's usually not a line of redemption. Only person I would say that got close was Vader at the end of his life. But even then, I would even call that turning to the light side. I would say you're not gonna sit here and use force lightning on my son. You know what I'm saying? I didn't really see that turning to the light. I saw that a father being protective of his child. I didn't really see it light side. But so I find that interesting. What do you guys think?
So in that context, I would say no to that because Vader's whole purpose was always to be the focal point of the Force. Excuse me, that was Anakin Skywalker, because Anakin Skywalker is the focal balance point now. If you watch Ahsoka, because he's one with the Force.
Yeah.
So it's like if you watch the Clone Wars series, you know that there's a whole episode where him, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan wind up on the planet where they meet the living embodiments of the light side, the dark side, and then the balance was their father.
Yeah, the father, the brother, and the sister.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So the son is the embodiment of the dark side, while the daughter was the embodiment of the light. Now, the light side of the Force is one with Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I took it from the Ahsoka series that Anakin is now the focal point in the middle, so he now represents the father.
Yeah.
We need Star Killer.
He would make perfect sense to be the focal point for the dark side, because people argue all the time that Ahsoka's not a Jedi. But in my opinion, Ahsoka represents more of what a Jedi actually should be, opposed to what the traditional Jedi was. Because if you heard Yoda and Dooku and everybody talk, even Qui-Gon, like they acknowledged the hypocrisy of the shit that was going on. That's why they questioned the stuff that happened. That's why Qui-Gon was a very unconventional Jedi. That's because Dooku was a very unconventional Jedi. Mm-hmm. Now, Revan in that same aspect falls into that because he would question authority, and he wouldn't just blatantly follow orders. So that always put him on the wrong end of the Jedi Council. And then when him and Merrick got to investigating what was going on with the Mandalorians, this is when things really go sideways, and the Mandalorian War happens.
The rest of the Jedi Council did not like this man.
I believe it. The Jedi Council within that time frame from my understanding from the time of the Rasana the Rasana Accords till I'd say episode 3, not even till episode 3, they were rocking on just like this untouchable high horse that had that what's up, Lady Mandalore? Hey, I felt this, and of course, welcome
Yes.
welcome to the dark side.
My sister in darkness.
Sister in darkness.
Kira.
Oh, what's up? But yeah, from the Rasana Accords to I'd say Revenge of the Sith, at least the beginning of episode 3, they were sitting on this high horse that there's like, no, the Jedi will prevail, the light will always overcome the darkness. And so when it comes to somebody, again, I feel like there's a lot of parallels when it comes to Anakin and the way he ran things when it comes to Revan. They just didn't like anyone questioning the Jedi, the Jedi Council's authority.
Well, that, and I think it's also one of the things where the unconventional Jedi tends to fall off the beaten path.
Yeah.
But why is it?
But this is also one of those things like where the quote Little Dicky, I don't have to be resigned to the highway. I'll make my own path. Let those other motherfuckers drive straight. If anything, the unconventional Jedi are more actually what a Jedi's supposed to be. Like Qui-Gon, like Dooku. Obi-Wan was even considered conventional, so unconventional. So was Anakin Skywalker. But it's like
what was that, Toshi?
I mean, his master was Qui-Gon.
Yeah, like you see the things that happen in the galaxy and the stuff that goes on, and they interject where they can. They interject where they want. It's not about like they said in Acolyte. And don't get me wrong, I got my feelings on Acolyte, but there are certain shit where they made valid points. It's not about power. Excuse me. It's not about right and wrong. It's about power and who the council says is allowed to wield it. It's not the fact that you're power hungry. It's the fact that if you become too strong, can't no one in this room stop you.
That is very true, and I think that's definitely what the council feared when it came to Anakin.
Yeah, that's where those parallels are too. There's always that Anakin could have been saved from the dark side. We know it was his destiny for all that to happen, but he could have been. But they didn't care enough about him
as a person.
Yes,
to keep that fall from happening for him to trust them. There was
like
a lot more going on with Revan, but the parallel is really there a lot. They still didn't really care about him as a person, especially already knowing that Kreia had fallen to the dark side. One of his teachers to get into the nitty-gritty of it and keep it from happening.
And the parallel with Anakin and Revan is also interesting because there's a full-scale war going on that they have to deal with. They're also both manipulated by a Sith Lord because the Mandalorian Civil War was orchestrated by the Sith.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that. I remember we were talking about that.
Yeah.
I think that was what episode? I think that was an actual Mandalorian episode that we did. We've done a lot of episodes, 100 episodes. Shout out to the 100 episodes. Like if I remember, so again, Triage, I'm so sorry. I got to get this book back to you. From when you allowed me to read, the Darth Bane storyline, there is I'm pretty sure it's the second book where his apprentice, I hate that I'm forgetting her name,
Xana.
when she infiltrates the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, and there's like a tribute, not really a tribute, but like a list of all the Jedi that had fallen to the dark side. I remember reading that, and I remember thinking like that's crazy, where they actually have a list of all those who had lost their path or lost the path of the light and went down the path of the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
So I just find it funny that they would, you know what I mean, like, because I know like for police, they, you know, in a police precinct they have a wall of falling officers, right? But that's out of love and respect for those. And I find it funny that the Jedi would still have something similar to that, even though the dark side was so feared. It was feared. The Jedi feared it. It's not that they were against it. No, they feared the dark side. That they would have like a wall like that, commemorating those who had fallen to the dark side. I just found that interesting because you bringing that up.
Well, it's one of those things like where you have to remember it's not so much that person is dead and gone, because everybody loses people.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone learns to mourn and move on. But it's another thing for someone you love or someone you've raised to become everything you hate. Now, the Jedi, quote unquote, don't know hate,
quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
but a Sith, by all technical terms, especially ones that we know from the legend stories, are the ones that have been main canon, such as Bane, Nihilus, Malgus, like Plagueis definition of what this shit. And there's ones that have gone so far as breaking the natural order and corrupting the Force itself.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you've had Sith lords that have done shit so egregious that the other Sith lords are like, yeah, we can't ever let that happen again.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that person.
So
maybe next episode or episode after that, but we're gonna talk about that person because that's crazy.
So from that aspect, it's one of those things like where it's not so much that you're that person's dead and gone, I can bury them and mourn them. It's the difference when you have that person become everything that you're not.
Mm.
And then that person's running around destroying everything you built or everything you stand for.
Literally.
Nah, yeah, that's deep. Damn. Wow.
So I think
that makes more sense now.
So yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why Revan got the reputation that he did and why he got looked at the way he was, because he pierced the veil, looked through it, and didn't blink.
That is the perfect description. Oh yeah.
Wow. Oh yeah, that's pretty solid, Jay. So in your experience, in your like, I don't know how to say, your archive of Star Wars and Jedi and mostly Sith Lord knowledge, what is, when it comes to Revan, like, how do you see his connection to the Force itself? Because it sounds like it's something different than, it sounds like it's very different from what we see between a Jedi in the Force and a normal Sith in the Force.
Well, if we remember, right, the Force is something that a person taps into, but the Force is neither good nor bad. It's the person who wields it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Revan understood that, and I don't think really, like, in my opinion, I don't think Revan saw himself as good or bad.
No, that's a solid point.
Like, he just simply knew what he needed to do.
So he did what he saw fit in that time. So it wasn't like, all right, well, I'm a Sith, so I'm gonna do bad
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
or I'm a Jedi, I'm gonna do good stuff. It was, hey, yo, listen, this is what happening right now. I'm gonna do what it is that I feel that I need to do, whether it be on a light side air quote or the dark side air quote, to solve the problem.
yeah, yeah.
Mm. Okay, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, mostly. Like you said, the force is something you wield. Like the force isn't good, it's bad, it's just there. It's like
Mm-hmm.
air.
Mm-hmm.
Or depending on if you're religious or not, whatever your religion is that follows ash,
Yeah.
Right.
essence, all those things. Like that's the force.
Mm.
It can be wielded however you see fit if you're gifted enough.
And
And
no, go ahead.
I think the big thing with that is that when you see people and the way they wield it, it's the biggest thing. And it's not so when I say well the way they wield it, I mean it's the differences in how it can be used. Like you have people who are so proficient in the force on accident or just off nature that they dwarf everyone who could be their age or older than them. Like Anakin Skywalker learned things in months that took people years. Stuff that he learned in weeks took people months.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why he had the superiority complex that he did. Like I'm ahead of everyone who's my age. I'm ahead of people who are twice my age, and yet I'm still a Padawan.
And I started late.
Mm. Yes, that a lot of
Yeah,
people
very
forget that
true.
he did start late.
So not only did I start late, I'm hailed as probably one of the greatest pilots, greatest swordsmen, and one of the most dangerous force users to ever live. And then I'm constantly being scolded and lectured about what it is I quote unquote do wrong or how I can't excel. Like you watch the Kenobi series, you see that whole scene like where he's dueling with Obi-Wan, he defeats him, and then Obi-Wan manages to disarm him and then lectures him.
Yeah.
Mm. 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 And again, and
It's like he's reminding him that like because you lack humility, you lost.
yeah,
Hmm.
no, absolutely, and I feel like, and that is one of the things that I honestly, it's a constant that I see when it comes to Jedi turned Sith, or just Jedi who just fall, and it's like, you know what, I'm just not going to be a part of the Jedi Order anymore, whether they go Sith or just go out on their own. And it is because a lot of times the Jedi focus on a lot of times what the things that you've done wrong, instead of, normally what people are like, you're doing that so great, you're doing that awesome. But in turn, like they scold a lot. Oh, well, you didn't do this right. Your back foot a little bit off. And even in the even in Acolyte, you know what I'm saying? You can, when it comes to the main character, the whole reason why they kicked her out of the order is because they felt, and again draws a parallel to Anakin. They felt that she had too much like dark side or dark energy in her, that as if she wasn't able to overcome that,
Mm-hmm.
and thus they just kind of just threw her to the wayside.
But see, that to me is also represents the flaw in the system. Like
Yeah.
it's it's like a poor power scaling to me, like the way they did like with Dragon Ball Z. Like there's too much room for error in what you're supposed to quote unquote be that makes you a quote unquote Jedi.
Because
Now,
whose authority decides if you're going to be able to do that or not? Just whoever's in charge of the council. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then here's another thing too. Like there are certain abilities that are specific to the light side and dark side of the force. And there are certain abilities that can be used on both sides. Like lightning is not a specific dark side user force technique.
Nope. Because who was it? Plo Koon?
Yes.
Who had a force lightning technique?
So,
Well, they, had a
so
problem
does
with it. They didn't like it, but they ain't decide. Well, you can't be a Jedi anymore.
so does Luke Skywalker eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's not unheard of for someone who's a light side user to use lightning. It's just a technique, and it's something that could apparently, according to the new trilogy, we don't talk about Bruno. No. Rage using lightning on accident and tug of war. So I mean,
But
No, yeah, we don't talk about it.
here.
What was that?
so
Finish triage.
So I think that's one of the things like where when you see the potential of the force and how it can be used, and the fact that, like I said, Revan could do both because not only did he learn light side as an initial Jedi, then during the Mandalorian Wars where he converted and became a Sith, and then he studied the dark side, he was able to mend that and meld those two together and almost form a perfect style and a balance, which actually even becomes reflected in his lightsaber.
Now, what do you mean by that? In his lightsaber, he goes purple too?
Yeah, yes. So Revan's lightsaber color was originally blue because Revan was a guardian.
Mm-hmm.
When Revan converts to the dark side of the Force, after the Mandalorian Wars, after he defeats Mandalore the Ultimate, Revan dons a Mandalorian helmet and then converts his lightsaber to red. He bleeds his crystal.
Yeah.
Now the problem is that he was given a new saber, but he couldn't use it because he felt such a connection to his kyber crystal. So he bled his kyber crystal, but when he bled it, it didn't stay red. It turned purple.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So does that mean that the bleed didn't take? Or did that mean that he didn't have enough hate in him?
The lightsaber. The lightsaber is representative of who he is.
Okay, so it's saying that he's not truly, because from my understanding of bleeding, it's when the force user pretty much puts all their hatred and anger into their hate, their anger, their agony, their pain, all that into the crystal using the force. So is that indicative of saying that all right, he didn't have like as much anger, rage, or agony, or whatever it was that, like, let's say Anakin had when Anakin actually did Anakin bleed his?
I think
No.
No.
Not as Jay, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say I think you're looking like too deep into it. I think it's just like red and blue make purple. You know what I mean?
Also represents balance.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, yeah, maybe it is me looking too deep into it, just because I've different forms of the lore and different ways that I've heard bleeding described, and then the way that we actively see a crystal be bled in Acolyte. You know what I mean? Again, all right, Acolyte. There's a lot that Acolyte didn't do right, but we all got to admit that was pretty damn cool.
I mean, but that's also one of those things where it only works for people who knew what it was.
Yeah, I think that was a point. Forget about those who didn't really know, who don't know. That was a moment for us. That was a moment for us. But so I guess that's where I'm getting a lot of mixed up coming in. But yeah, I guess red and blue, purple. I don't know. I guess I'm trying to, like, when it comes to Star Wars, I like to look at and try to find like the deeper meanings into like the way they do things, just because it's such a vast world. There's such a vast universe. There's so much going on, and then I hate when they just like, all right, well, why did he have a blue one? Oh, it's because the actor wanted a blue one. Well, why did he want a red one? Because the actor wanted a red one. It just kills me when I hear that. And it's like, no, give it a meaning. Give it a meaning. I guess that's me personally.
Well, no, that is a fact. That is what happened because that's why we have purple now because Sam Jackson wanted a purple lightsaber. But
Exactly.
and you know it says motherfucker on it, right?
Yep, it's underneath is engraved motherfucker.
But no, that I hear what you're.
What was that, Toshi?
I said, but over time they gave it meaning because, of course, they knew people was gonna start asking questions.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
He wanted to distinguish himself from everybody else in the fight. Meanwhile, at that point in time, him and Billy D. Williams were only black people in the Star Wars universe.
Right. I think we see it.
You know, they give us one front runner Negro every movie, every trilogy, just one.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Like, all right, first we're gonna give him this wavy hair jigaboo with the mustache. All right, next trilogy we're gonna give him a bad. We give him a bad motherfucker, and the trilogy after that we get Finn. We get Finn, fucking Finn.
Oh my god, they did John Boyega so dirty in that trilogy.
He was
so dirty in that trilogy. What was that?
He was supposed to be a Jedi. They know
he should have been.
Man was force sensitive.
No, he shouldn't have. Because you want to know why? Because he didn't have the balls to be a Jedi. If that's the way he was going to carry himself, I'm glad he didn't give me before film. All right.
That's not his fault.
But did Luke? I'm sorry, Tashi. Go ahead.
That's not his fault. That's their fault. They were going to write him as a Jedi. That nigga was force sensitive, and they backtracked, and then they changed their minds, and then we got the Finn we got.
Honestly, yeah. They decided. Oh, you know what? Maybe sticking with the Skywalker Palpatine idea is, everyone's liked it so far. Let's see if we can take it another 3.
He said what? He said, "Black Jedi, you're fired."
They hate us enough already. No, we can't do that.
Threw his ass out the window. Like, we already gave a Black Jedi. No more.
Sandy, get that nigga out of here. He's fired.
He said, they only get one, right, Spider-Man?
Everybody gets one.
Only get one.
Everybody gets one. But no. So I got a theory. All right. I think because we all know that the Jedi have the legend of the Chosen One, correct?
Yes.
Now, if you're someone who's read the Bane trilogy, like I know we all have, you know that the Sith have the legend of the Sithari.
Mm-hmm.
Who is also their version of the Chosen One, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, once again, quote unquote, different philosophies, different religions, which vary slightly in different directions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have this hot take that I don't think there is just a quote unquote chosen one. I think every generation has one, depending on what's going on at that point in time.
Oh, so it's
That's
Avatar in space.
I have heard that theory before, and I'm not opposed to it, honestly.
I have heard that the Force will naturally create a Force sensitive that is stronger, depending on what's going on.
The Force balances itself out.
But that's the whole point, and we see that all the time. So, like, for example, like it's been said that like if you've seen The Mandalorian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's seen The Mandalorian. It's said that Grogu is the same age as Anakin Skywalker, or the same age he would have been if he was still alive. So, if you look at it from that aspect, if Anakin is a direct result of Plagueis manipulating the Force to create life, the Force will have to balance itself out to create a being who is similar in power to Anakin Skywalker.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So people theorize and have stated that's what Grogu must be. Just like how if you watched Acolyte, you have them manipulating the Force and the being who had all that potential split into identical twins. Because it's said that they're not twins, they're one person.
Yeah.
Yes.
They had a specific name for it.
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, it was called
they gave them a
something.
specific
I can't remember.
like it specifically stated that if Anakin Skywalker truly is the focal point of the Force now and Ahsoka is the light, it would make only perfect sense for Starkiller to be the dark side. Because while Galen Merrick is not a traditional Sith Lord, Ahsoka is not a traditional Jedi. So once again, it's the Force balancing itself back out again. I think the reason why we never saw that with Revan is because Revan truly never got a chance to create a Jedi in his own image.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Because Revan was definitely that focal point for his period of time. Because when Revan fell off the beaten path during the Mandalorian Wars, Malik, who was with Revan, became his apprentice. When Revan found his helmet and donned it and proclaimed that he was now Darth Revan, the Darth Lord of the Sith, Malik felt that Revan wasn't ruthless enough to be a Sith Lord. So he challenged him, and that's how Malik wound up getting his face cut off.
I still don't get how he came to that conclusion, but
Right.
Yeah, I don't understand either. Like,
sir,
you
the Mandalorian in one single combat. I'm sorry, what?
Like you saw me do this. You were here. You were 10 feet away. Like
you were there. I seen it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's crazy. But no,
like it's
I
agree
with that. Because like all right, so we have Revan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after Revan, I think after Revan, that's when they started doing damn it, what's his name? Starts with a C. Khan came about and started doing this whole shit with the Brotherhood. But at that time, who was winning at that time? The light side was ruling at that time. So what did the Force do? They had to balance it out. And along comes Bane and balances the fuck out of that. I'm that man, balance the fuck out of it. Right? So now the dark side's up. And then after Bane, the light, it always goes back and forth, but that's how it is. And I wanted to give a shout out to Freddie Prinze Jr. I feel like he was one of the first people to like really speak up about the Force and how the Force is not dark, is not light. The Force is just the Force, and the Force does what the Force wants, and it will always balance itself out. And so that interview was like the first time I've ever heard that idea. And again, I'm pretty sure George, because it was George that said it to him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love the fact that Dave Filoni has carried that shit on for it as well with all the work. Just give the reins of Star Wars to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and we will have no problems with Star Wars ever again.
Literally.
That's debatable.
Nope.
That's debatable.
Maybe not.
And the reason why I say that is because some of these stories are rather dark, and I haven't seen them get to where they should be to begin with.
Oh, they're getting there. They're pushing that boundary.
Well, no.
I'm pretty sure this next season of Ahsoka is going to be pretty dark.
Well, I'll give Ahsoka somewhat of a pass, but it's also one of those things like where you see. You gotta remember, the whole thing with the galaxy's always recovering from some kind of mass tragedy or war. So it's like you see it in the Mandalorian, and the Republic's been reestablished, and the problems are still there. And it's like, oh well, the New Republic, doesn't care about this particular planet, so we're gonna have to figure it out. Or this particular planet is just outside of the galaxy, so they're gonna have to fend for themselves. Once again, it's not what's going on; it's where it's happening. Because there is a book. I'm drawing a blank. It literally takes place right after Return of the Jedi, and it's revealed that like Palpatine actually was keeping certain shit in check.
Oh, I believe that.
Let me
Well,
check
yeah,
the bookshelf because I'm pretty sure I have that book.
Yeah, there's like some force sensitive creatures that are like immune to the force.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes.
shit.
Yeah.
Come on. They're all on one planet, and the thing is and it said that they were the first to ever wield or use the force, and they were the ones who taught the first non their race force users.
The Truce of Akora or something like that.
Something like maybe.
Man, I'm drawing such a
actually have
blank.
that one.
But I know the creatures that you're
I know
talking
exactly
about.
what you're talking about.
Right.
Staring at my Star Wars books, and I don't actually have that one.
But it's like that to me is like a perfect example. Like, you know what I mean? The galaxy is quote unquote at peace, but that also depends on what your definition of peace is.
That's a lie.
Mm.
Yes.
See, and like you said, peace is a lie.
Like there's one planet, everything may be going great and fine and dandy for this one planet, but there's gonna be a planet out there that is not.
War.
That's war torn. There's going to be. So when it comes to Revan inside of this world this galaxy that never necessarily finds peace, what is that? So his turning point at the end, his turning point from Jedi to Sith is at the end of the first Jedi Mandalorian War.
Yes, because when Revan dons his helmet, Revan truly fully embraces the dark side. But it's also one of those things like where Revan is revealed to have been manipulated by the Emperor of the Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's
I
like how
remember
when
But
Revan
didn't
Go ahead.
realize he also didn't realize their will. So even though he sent them on the mission, they turned it and used it for themselves.
How so?
He sent them to get the triage. I can't remember the name of the thing.
The helmet?
No. The machine.
Starforge.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Sent him to get that so he could have his army. But by the time they got there, they used it for themselves to make the army.
Okay, I remember now. And I'll be honest, the only reason why I know about the Starforge is because Bane talks about Revan's story in depth. Like Revan, like he looked up to Revan so much.
Inspired him a lot.
Yeah. He inspired the hell out of him. So after that, so now what does his reign look like, Jay? What does Revan's reign look like?
You're talking about like
as like now a full-fledged Sith Lord. What does it look like for him?
Oh, I think that once he dons his helmet, I think that at that point he figures out what he has to do. Like, I think that's the difference between him being a Jedi and him being a Sith Lord. When he's a Sith Lord, he like his choices are his own. And I think, well, I forget the word you just used. What was the word you just used?
Starforge?
No. Your question.
Reign.
Yes, you reign.
Yeah. So now he pops his helmet on, and then what is his next move from there? He has Malgus, not Malgus,
Malik.
Malik. I keep mixing Plagueis and Malik together when I say their name every single time. Where do they go from there? Now he puts on his helmet, full-fledged Sith Lord. That's what I mean. Like, where does he go from there? How does like the rest of his time as a Sith Lord look? Where does he go from there?
Well, don't him and Malik then decide to?
Empire.
Oh no, they go after the Emperor after that. I can't remember.
So from what I remember is that Revan and Malik basically have it to the point where they try to amass their forces, because the issue now is because the Mandalorians have been completely dismayed, because, as you know, they believed that they were fighting the Jedi, but this whole thing was orchestrated by the Sith.
Yeah, and that's when like he realizes that, but don't they go to the Star Forge then?
Because Revan had every intention of going back and overthrowing the council, but he's betrayed by Malik. And in the process of him doing this, he winds up basically being left for dead, and he's rediscovered by the Jedi. Now, this is where the Knights of the Old Republic game picks up.
Right.
Because I remember
stuff.
Right? Because like you basically create a character, and then it's revealed through the course of the game that your character is Revan, because of the way he excels at everything that he's being taught. Now, when Revan was found by the Jedi, they erased his memory and took his helmet.
Yes.
And then retrained him as a Jedi again.
Yes. Now, his wife, and Revan is married, which is another thing that actually went against the rules, which was really interesting. His wife, Bastila, if I'm saying it correctly.
Bastila. I thought it was Bastila.
Bastila.
She takes his helmet and hides it. Because she thought that his helmet was like the embodiment of like his darkness. Like if he saw it and put it on, like he'd be re-embracing the monster that everyone quote unquote knows about. That is this guy who did all this wild shit across the galaxy. Like because the thing that cemented his reign was him defeating Mandalore the Ultimate. Like he basically
entirely wrong.
So it's like he basically dethroned one of the baddest people in the galaxy in single combat. So they were like, yeah, we can't let this happen. So now years later, Revan winds up retaining and finding out of who he was and what he did, but he never fully gets his memories back. They come back to him in waves. And 9 times out of 10, they come back to him as nightmares or flashbacks.
Until he touched the helmet again.
Yes, until the helmet is gifted back to him. And then once he puts it on, he states that he is Revan reborn. Before him, any Force user is nothing.
Yeah.
Then he had full access to all the knowledge that he gained from the light side of the Force and the dark side of the Force. And he could use both.
And that's when he remembered where he hid Mandalore the Great's helmet.
Like
they start kicking ass and taking names.
He got hit with Force lightning. He caught it with one hand, channeled it through his body, and threw it back with 5 times the force. The person that threw it at him, he disintegrated.
Literally.
Death.
Oh, wow.
That's how powerful he was.
So Sidious ain't got nothing on him.
Absolutely no.
Like the only so far from what I'm hearing, the only other person I know of that was like near his level would have been Starkiller if he was canon.
Everybody just is like
everybody's silent. Just silence. So who would? So all right, let's do it this way. So out of Starkiller and Revan, who's coming out on top?
Honestly, I'm gonna have to say Starkiller. Only because he literally rips a Star Destroyer out of the sky.
All right. What about you, Triage?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Who's coming out on top, Revan or Starkiller?
So my feelings on that is that's going to be Revan for plot armor's sake and skill sake. And the reason why I say plot armor is because Revan has proclaimed himself Emperor. He proclaimed himself Darth Lord of the Sith.
Mm-hmm.
He defeated multiple Sith Lords who were actual Sith Lords. He was corrupted by the Emperor of the Sith, who by far was more dangerous than Palpatine ever was.
The only one stronger than him.
Right? And then it's also one of those things where he's going through his Jedi training twice over.
And has mastered all the elements of both sides.
So that's why I say like the plot armor, like the backing for him winning that fight is there. The only thing that he could possibly hope to win is saber combat. And even then, I doubt he's getting that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm with Triage, honestly. It's Revan for me. All he said, plus his willpower alone. Somebody give that man a Green Lantern ring.
Right? And let's not forget that man wearing Beskar, so.
Wait, who's wearing Beskar? Revan?
Revan
Oh,
is.
yeah, the helmet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? All that's true. I forgot about all that.
All right. Okay. I'm sorry. That shook me because everyone talks a big game about Starkiller, but now
But
yeah,
Revan's
know what?
usually
No,
not in that
no.
conversation.
But
Yeah,
see,
that's true.
but this goes back to what we said before. It's one of those things like where we just talked about Palpatine using lightning versus Revan using lightning. Like Palpatine might have been able to use lightning to that level of power, but why do it? Why put you out of your misery where I can torture you?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That's true. Palpatine was heavy on the sadism,
Somehow Palpatine returns.
right? Oh,
You see the way Starkiller used the Force with reckless abandonment, and you see the way Mace Windu could use it. But it's also one of those things where Windu used it against battle droids, where he used it against anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like they talk all the time about how Starkiller is quote unquote OP and he's overpowered. Is it so much that he's overpowered, or is it that he has a high focal point in the Force and he can use it with reckless abandonment?
Also, you have to think of the time. Who's he around? He's not there with Revan. So you're looking at completely different characters he's being compared to. So of course he looks like that guy.
Yeah.
Right.
That is very true. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Because again, like even going through, bringing it back to Bane going throughout his story, him openly saying like there have been Sith lords that have literally sucked the life out of a planet. There are Sith lords that were so strong within the Sith sorcery that were able to take human or like organic beings and turn them into biomechanical beings. So you're absolutely right. You gotta, I guess it's like when you look at Starkiller, then you look at the people around him and what they're able to do with the Force. Of course, he looks like a monster. But then if you take Starkiller and put him in the same like time period as somebody like Revan, Nihilus, like Belize, I can't remember her last name. But characters like that, like he's not touching them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it was Nihilus, like you said, that literally like pulled the entirety of the life force out of his home planet. So I'm sorry, like, all right, Starkiller, he's pulling down a Star Destroyer, but Is he sucking the force out of a planet? No. So okay, I give you that. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Now, let's take a quick break. We'll come back to it, but my question is, are you guys to our viewers, are tired of the same old voices in your feed? The same old people over and over and over again? Well, tap in to the Indie Primetime, a powerhouse collective of your favorite indie and blurred podcasts that have joined forces to bring you the freshest takes on everything from underground gems to mainstream madness. I'm talking comics, culture, commentary, unfiltered. Whether you're deep in the indie trenches or vibing with the blurred elite, we got your next bench. Follow the movement and plug in to the convo. So, let's take a moment. Let's see what the Indie Primetime has to offer. And we'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome to the Super Breakdown Podcast, where cosmic tales unfold. Join Power Maximus, Lord Triage, and the Darth Legacy Jason M40 on a journey through heroic realms where legends are born and destinies entwine. Delve into the cosmic currents, unraveling the mysteries of superheroes, villains, and champions. Embrace the cosmic energy that binds us all, and let your journey begin. This is the Super Breakdown Podcast. Enter the cosmic saga.
What? Yeah. What? Understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest.
Starting a war with these stars, you won't get far. This is the way you play a game of life or death star. So far removed from the drama, we don't know this harm, but won't hesitate to shed a light like a Patronus charm. With mischief managed, troubles at a disadvantage. Must be something in the water, dip your toe because you know it's warm. Where can you find another show with such a fine cast? And if you try to box them in, they playing Minecraft. And basically the sum made up like you define math. This crew's the best and it figures like a line graph. I'm Mary band like the words I do. Level-headed, you don't have to have absurd IQs. They know you can relate because they're nerds like you. With their help, you'll see the world from a blur's eye view. Yeah. You are now tuned in to Blur's Eye View. And without further ado, we out.
And we are back. Thank you for sitting through those. Definitely, man, check them out. If you have, if you want something new, want something fresh, tune in to any of us at all, whether it be a super breakdown, whether it be Blur's Eye View, whether it be Room Full of Blurs, whether it be the indie breakdown, whether it be Melanin Minds. Tune into us. We're fresh. We all have a fresh take on whether it be indie or mainstream comic books. We are the culture. We are for the culture. We love the culture, and we come to give you a taste of that culture from our perspective, from someone in the culture. As you saw up there, Melanin Minds is hosted by Darth Toshi here. Toshi, if you would like, by all means, throw a plug in there. Let them know where they can watch, when they can watch, and how they can watch.
Gang. Melanin Minds is all about putting a spotlight on the Black women and femmes in the comic book and manga space. So if you want to watch it, you can find us on our new YouTube channel, which is Melanin Minds 24.
Melanin Minds 24. Check that out. By all means, definitely check that out. And again, like what I appreciate so much about your show is that, well, just about like a lot of what's going on within the indie world as well. We talk about topics that don't normally get talked about within the, like, openly, right? Like right now within the Star Wars universe, people know of Revan, but how many people really talk about Revan? You know what I mean? How many people really give him his flowers?
Outside of saying that he looks really cool.
Right? Right? And I would even say, like, if you play The Force Unleashed and you take Star Killer's like Evil Path, the DLC for the Evil Path, like his dark costume looks a lot like Revan's, like mask wise. So I always thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, especially specifically with Melanin Minds, like I feel like you know, Black women in comics, y'all, and I say y'all because you are the co-founder of Midnight Comics. Y'all don't get talked about enough. Y'all don't get your flowers enough. Y'all really don't.
Especially not mainstream. And that's not to say I don't have mainstream creators lined up, because I do.
Okay. All right, y'all better stay tuned. You heard her. She got mainstream and indie lined up. Definitely tune in. Melanin Minds. You said 24?
Yep.
All right, check it out. So when it comes to Revan, so we've talked about, his Jedi path, his turn to the dark side, and then I would say his involuntary turn back to the light. And I guess that's not something that's really talked about. Like, oh, all right, yeah, he was a Jedi, turned Sith, then turned back Jedi. But based on what you're asking, it wasn't his choice to go back to the Jedi.
As far as the council was concerned, he never technically made the conscious choice to walk away in the first place. So they were basically just giving him a chance to side with them again, because that's what he should have done, because he was manipulated by the Emperor. The problem became that a person who has no free will has no free will. There's no way to change the dynamic of that, regardless of how you might feel. So it's like, by the Jedi Council manipulating him and wiping his brain and starting over, in my opinion, and most people's, they were no better than the Emperor.
True.
They are not.
I agree.
It wasn't the fact that, it's our lost brethren, we need to help him, we need to bring him back. It's no, we saw what this thing can do. We heard what he can do. He's too dangerous to be on that side of the board. Do what you do. We do what you need to do to put him back in our corner. So that's what it was.
Because to them, he was the only one that could beat his former apprentice. They needed him to kill him.
I mean, but that's the same old story. That's the same old story with the Jedi. I feel like they speak about being the bringers of peace and stuff like that, but a lot of times when the Jedi get involved, there's war. They're just like, And at first, when I was reading Darth Vader's story, and especially in the second book, or was it the first? Where I think it was the second book, where the current chancellor at the time, or had was just really was pushing for the Rasana Accords, and within that, turning the Jedi from a military force into a peacekeeping force. I was on the side of, he's trying to nullify the Jedi. He's trying to nullify the Jedi. But after a while, like after reading and stuff, I'm like, oh, hold on, this might be for the better, making them more of a political force than a militarized force, because every time the Jedi are in some kind of military standpoint, shit gets crazy, because they're talking about peace and then end up doing some shit that ain't really peaceful.
I think I was just gonna say, I think it's a good reminder that power corrupts, and then absolute power corrupts absolutely. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong and doing what you believe is right or wrong. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No, wow. Absolutely.
I think it is the misperception of the history of violence.
Go on.
So you get told all the time, turn the other cheek, be the bigger man, learn to forgive. And my whole thing is like, I don't want to forgive my rapist. I want to cut their throat. I don't want to break bread with the person who tried to rob me. I'm gonna put them down and then step over their body. So,
I mean, to be fair,
my whole thing is like, only those who are truly capable of violence can call themselves peaceful, because me choosing not to be violent is me being peaceful. I'm choosing to talk to you. I'm choosing to reason with you. If you're someone who's not capable of violence, you're not peaceful, you're harmless.
It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
My whole thing is like, it's the concept of that. See, they perceive themselves to be the warrior in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case, because that's not what the galaxy is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a poor conception. Like, the Jedis have philosophies like monks, but skill sets of warriors.
Yeah,
they have a religious calling in view of the world, but it's also, they're some of the most dangerous people to ever have lived. So it's like, I think it's the violence and the perception of it. So when you have someone who sees these people who are in these positions of power, who can inflict their will, literally go, you didn't see me come in here. I didn't see you come in here. You're going to give me all the money in your pocket and then go about your business. I'm going to give you all the money in my pocket and go about my business. Move along. I'm moving along. Like, you've seen it in the X-Men, like with Senator Kelly, and how he tried to do the Mutant Registration Act. You've seen it in the Avengers with the Sokovia Accords. Like, all it is people with too much power who claim to be one thing, who everyone else goes, you need to be put in check. And then the Jedi's response isn't, oh, that's not what's going on. That's not what we are. Let us show you what we are. Their response is, you want us to do that? No, you want us to do that? Come make us do that. And then they proceed to tell their people, like, don't get caught. Don't cause a scandal. Don't do anything that's going to put more gasoline on this fire. That's the whole thing with the Acolyte.
Yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't the situation, it's how it got handled. And the fact it became public knowledge. So it's like, oh no, we got to keep that quiet.
Yeah, that shit was that was handled so damn poorly.
But it's also one of them scenarios like where I don't understand how it gets to where it did. because the whole thing with them taking children from their families, and they never said like what the process of that is. Like, is the family compensated? Is the family rewarded? Because like they've never said how that works. I'm actually in the middle.
When it came to Anakin, they didn't give her a shit. They're like, oh, don't worry, we'll take him. We'll take good care of him. Okay.
But see, but that's
the way they've always made it seem is, hey, your child is force sensitive. They're going to train to be a Jedi now.
Yep. Let's see.
Have a nice life.
Lady
That's
Mandalore
it.
says the Jedi also claim to be about that life, but then act like their hands are tied when it's time to put in real work.
Man,
No, for real. That's
But
not a matter of the Jedi.
But that goes back to that perception of the fear, like I was saying. Like when you see certain people wield the force, you can go, wow, that's really cool. Or you can be like, holy shit, that person is capable of that. That one person is capable of that. Now, imagine a whole building full of people like that. Imagine a whole planet full of people like that. And then they don't have to answer to anyone. Like by all technical terms, and this is the wild part, the Jedi ruled the galaxy, if you look at it, by all technical terms. Yeah, they answered to the Republic, but it's like, did they though? Like, is there truly a force that the Republic could have sent to Coruscant and been like, you guys are all getting arrested?
No.
Hell no.
I mean, Order 66 did happen.
But Order 66 is different because Order 66 was a plot. That was a coup. That was an inside job. That's not the same.
I'm just being stupid.
Oh, okay.
But you are correct though. It's like they put the red tape on themselves. Honestly, it's just an excuse.
We're keepers of the peace. We're not soldiers.
Right. But that's literally what you have, child soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
That literally trained from like 3-4 years old, because I'm actually in the middle of a book right now where it's about Dooku, and Dooku winds up going back to his home planet and meeting his family.
Oh, that's cool.
And like when his father sees him, he has a fit about it. He literally tells Yoda, you said you were never going to bring him back here. Why is he here? And like you mentioned Anakin Skywalker's perception is a totally one-off. The reason why people acknowledge Anakin Skywalker and the Jedi can look at as these humbled, enlightened individuals is because Annie was a slave. That's just like the whole thing. That's just like the whole thing with Daenerys Targaryen. Now, the Messiah complex is real. Don't ever fall for that shit. Don't ever do it. And I'm not saying that because she's a female. I'm saying it because you have to read between the lines to see the truth behind the truth. Like, out of all the people that Daenerys Targaryen, quote unquote, liberated, there was no one who was like, fuck this, I'm going home. Everyone followed her regardless. 8,000 unsullied soldiers, and everyone acknowledged her as the queen. Did they not acknowledge her as a queen, or did they just replace their master? Can you truly offer freedom to someone that doesn't know what freedom is?
Damn.
Yeah.
Like if you're in the middle of the desert and you're dying of dehydration, and I give you a fucking thermos full of sand and tell you to drink it, and you don't know no better.
Yeah, you're not even gonna ask what's in the damn thermos. You're just gonna drink.
Right. Like I say, Anakin Skywalker is the only actual kid you get to see get taken from his family in the Star Wars canon.
Yeah.
True.
And the only reason why everyone acknowledges that as being like such a good thing is because he's a slave. He got sold into slavery to the Hutts. And that's another thing too. Like they talk about how the Hutts are gangsters and all this other shit, but we don't ever see them do shit.
Man,
that is very true.
And they talk about the whole thing with the spice getting moved. Like they're not moving spice. They moving multicolored heroin. That's what that shit is.
Well, even then, like honestly, if you really look at, but then also look at the planets that the Hutts are controlling.
Yes, and Ahsoka.
Yeah, and Ahsoka. Like, yeah, let's look like whatever the Hutts are doing. the Huts are just doing their damn thing. But like, look at the environment that they're holding. Like shit's taken care of. Like, they may be painted as bad guys, but like, I'm sorry, I haven't seen anything that's been depicted that they had control of that was falling apart, that was war torn or whatever. It was all drug dealers and was all chilling. Collecting protection. They had a protection racket running. Everybody was paying.
Are you really condoning the mob mentality right now? That's what you're doing.
But at the same time,
sure. Listen, you've seen
compare
Untouchables.
American gangs to mobs. The mob took care of their people.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
Oh my God!
No
What
women,
is he doing right
no
now?
children.
Now we'll say some of them are very abusive. Though.
You don't mess with another man's daughter or wife, right? And
a few of them were quite abusive, though.
Go ahead.
A few of them was a bit abusive, though.
Yes.
Listen, man, you talking about rules that quote unquote got in place within a few years were not in place no more. All right, not everybody followed the rules. Coups happened, things got taken out of place. So you're talking about Tatooine and what was going on it, nigga. People didn't give a fuck about Tatooine because it was a desert.
It was
a very well kept desert.
Nigga, let Tatooine look like Naboo, son. Oh my God, they're running spice. Oh, we can't have this. Get Jedi down there immediately. Send 20.
Ooh,
nah, man.
For the spice, but don't worry about the poor planet of people being enslaved and stuff. They're fine. They're fine.
Yeah, like come on, man. Nah, I don't want to. I can't. I can't. But
that's true. But again, I'm just saying, the planets that the Jedi rule, there's always some kind of back and forth. There's always there's no peace on those planets. Like Coruscant,
even their own.
Look at Coruscant. There was constant uprisings of as they called terrorists, or it's so funny how they were always like quieting down rebellions just to end up becoming the rebels themselves.
No, the ones that survived.
But that goes back to, like I said, the concept and the perception of violence. So the word terrorist to me is relative. Like, you can be called a terrorist just because you fly in the face of people in power.
I mean, let's be fair. Terrorists usually has to do with passing the paper bag test.
Ooh, yeah. Damn.
Now, for all those who don't know, clarify what the paper bag test is.
Is you brown or is you not?
See?
Damn.
Now, look.
Jason's corner. Damn.
But look at it in the realm of what we're talking about. As far as movies goes, from The Matrix to The Terminator to The Hunger Games to Divergent to fucking Star Wars. Anyone who flies in the face of power is a quote unquote terrorist. When you are part of the Rebel Alliance, it must be taken away. You know what I mean?
And let's be fair, people were usually quite prejudiced against any non-human alien species.
Right. That's another thing. Like, look at the whole thing with the Empire. The Sith Empire enslaved the Twi'leks and literally made them full-on slaves, and they were slaves for generations. That's never once addressed.
Holy shit, you're right.
Nope.
Wow, I forgot about that.
That's like Draco Malfoy saying mudblood. Like, it just gets swept under the rug. He called her nigga. Like, no one acknowledges it. Like, it's insane to me.
Nah, that's it. Damn. You're right. Damn, I didn't even think about that. Holy shit, yeah.
No, they never addressed Twi'leks or any of that.
But that's why I say like it's all the perception of the issue. Like you look at Anakin Skywalker, this child who had promise, who had nothing, who was a slave, who's freed, who grows up to enslave the galaxy, and then you look at someone like Dooku. Dooku's revealed to be a nobleman whose family owned a planet, had phenomenal resources, and the Jedi came and took him. And then when he found out about this, he was furious.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like I think that's one of those things like where it gets mentioned in books, like with Mace Windu being a corno to Kenobi and his origins. Like so, certain stories it's mentioned, but it's never really touched upon the different cultures and the backgrounds of the Jedi and how it affected them when they got taken away. Because while they're all quote unquote humanoids, they're all from different planets. That's like saying you could take 10 different people from 10 different races and have them have a conversation about their ethnic groups, and no one's gonna know what's being talked about because no one speaks the same language.
I mean, they did.
You know, funny, going back to the Kenobi thing, it gives you a good look too at, okay, you took this person from their family, you trained them up. Now they're not good enough for you. So you're just gonna throw them on cleanup duty?
Yeah.
That's a big thing too.
We're gonna put them on cleanup duty.
Like you just fucked up the entire course of their life. You know, you said that, oh, you're gonna come with us, you're gonna train as a Jedi, you're gonna travel the galaxy. You promised them all this shit.
And
then
good enough just get essentially servants. They can't even go home.
They can't even go home because now they were so young when you took them, they don't even know where home is.
Obi-Wan was a lucky one. Qui-Gon just happened to see something in him.
Yeah. And so it makes sense why so many Jedi, air quote, fall, in quotes, to the dark side. Because of the amount of hypocrisy that is just oozing out of I would say, the modern day Jedi Order. Because technically, so a part of the main thing with the Jedi Order is that no attachments. All right, which is why they're against marriage. No attachments. But you can be the biggest Jedi man whore in the world.
Every day
You can just be, what's that song? I'll be stroking every day.
Whoa.
Wow.
Listen, if you don't stop that, you're gonna go blind.
I want to know
for real,
I want to know if you guys were actually told that as kids. Cause
absolutely was.
Wow.
Yeah, but as a Jedi, it is condoned to be throwing your meat saber around.
I don't know what you're talking about. So what? So there's some Jedi Martin Luther King who's just going on liberation tours, just swinging his saber. That's what.
Yeah. There's I just learned about him. There's a Jedi that has kids.
There's
a few that have kids.
Yeah. So you're
because they're allowed to just throw it around. Yeah. You get pregnant when you're having sex.
Exactly. Just using the Force all willy-nilly. But there's a problem. It's like, all right, no attachments, but we're allowed to just slang anywhere and everywhere. Like, no matter. You're not mad at me. I just, you know what I'm saying? And literally, there's a level of hypocrisy there. Right?
Not really. So, in my opinion, it's indulging in vices without becoming slaves to them. Like the Jedi quote unquote live like monks, but it's also one of those things like where no one's asking them to be a priest. Like the whole thing is like, all right, yeah, you can indulge, you can have sex, you can drink, you can do these things, but it's like, look at someone like who's a good example. Look at Anakin Skywalker. Now, say Anakin had married Padme, had Luke and Leia, and then they went to go send him on a dangerous mission. He was like, "Fuck that! I'm not leaving my family." What if they were like, there's no one else who can take care of this problem. We need you to go. And he goes, no.
Yeah.
So where I was going with it was, I feel like if they would have said, if Obi-Wan was like, Annie, little bro, homie, listen, you can't marry her. But Obi-Wan, but Master, no. Listen, I said you couldn't marry her.
That wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have.
That wouldn't have worked.
It wouldn't have, but it said like, all right, you can be with her, you just can't love her.
And that wouldn't have worked. They've been in love since they were 9 and 14. No, that's not going to work.
That's wild work.
I'm not going to ever readdress that, but he was in love with her.
Yeah.
Then later,
Yeah, when he grew up, then she was like, "Oh, you know what?
She was still doing too much.
Yeah.
That shit was definitely mutual, but it's like, oh, he's cute, but he's young. And then when she came back, and he's all right.
You are so grown up.
But it's also implied. It is also implied that he manipulated her with the Force.
Whoa!
I have heard that.
I have not.
I'm on the fence on that one, but I have heard that.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Thought, honestly,
what was that?
I haven't honestly given it a lot of thought.
Yeah,
it's one of those things where I just try not to think about their relationship.
Yeah.
Now, like
Listen,
on Solo.
It was all consensual. I'm just saying. That's all I care about. It was all consensual.
I mean, after the fact, yeah, okay. But
what do you mean
statutory?
Statutory.
Statutory.
Because all right, so but we don't know how old Anakin is in episode 2.
That is also
he's 19.
He is?
Because in the first movie, he's 9 years old. When they're going up in the elevator and he keeps readjusting his tunic and he's like, yo, sweat. He's like, settle down, relax, you're sweating. He goes, I haven't seen her in 10 years, Master.
Mm-hmm.
So he's 19, almost 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like, what?
26?
34? No, wait, 26? Wait. Oh, yeah, she was 14. So yeah, 20. Yeah, it's like, wow.
It's 14 or 16. I don't remember.
I thought she was 16.
Even then, I salute him for having an older woman.
Yeah, I guess.
I've never been a fan. I just pretend they're close to engaged.
Listen, that's Natalie Portman, man. I salute him.
I don't know. I never.
I mean, the actors were close enough. I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
I love Natalie Portman. She's awesome.
Let's see. Lady Mandalore says Padme would have been weak in the mind, and that woman was absolutely not that. That's true. For somebody who's like, yeah, when talking about like him as a child, using the Force on her, I don't think so, because when he was 2, he didn't even know what the hell midichlorians were until Qui-Gon told him.
No. I mean, they weren't, when I say manipulate her with the Force, I mean in Attack of the Clones, all that time they spent together.
Mm-hmm.
And I disagree. And I disagree, Lady Mandalore. Just because she was a willed person doesn't mean she couldn't be influenced by someone she loved. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Like that's basically saying your will is strong enough to survive a fight or get over through pain or deal with all these things, but the person who you love, who is your partner, you can't be manipulated or be mistreated by that person. Everybody in this chat knows someone who's with someone right now that they have no business being with.
What'd you say, Lloyd?
Is everybody okay?
We just need some water.
Yeah, it got hot in here. It got hot. Anyways, fucking leave it to Tria.
No, sir, I still don't like it. But again, it's better than Leia and Han, so whatever.
Yeah. No one talks about that.
I hate them too.
Yo, Han Solo's a bitch. That's my hot take.
Han Solo was in his 30s, macking on a 19-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like
She's got daddy issues. What do you expect?
That's true.
It's true.
Listen, that all makes sense. There's
the crazy thing is Luke would have the daddy issues.
Oh no, she got him too. She got him too.
Not like
initially
Luke,
she was raised by a loving family.
Yeah.
But she also knew she was adopted. Let's not forget that.
Well, that would just be parental issues.
That's just parental issues and abandonment issues with her.
But I remember my mom, who died when I was born.
Yeah, that's because that's a whole continuity issue where it was supposed to be that Padme survived and took Leia and raised her somewhat, and then it got changed last minute. That's a continuity thing.
Unfortunately, he had to change a few things when he did the prequels. It's not a huge deal. It's just always funny.
Very, very true. Very, very true.
She was beautiful.
But even then, with all that said, like it 100% makes sense why there are those that say fuck the Jedi. Because at every time you turn around, like they say one thing and yet do another. Or at least the motives behind what they're saying are not truly, you know what I mean? Like what they're actually doing. You know what I'm saying? It's just they don't make sense. We are bringers of peace, yet we ready to go to war and willingly go to war. We all about peace, but don't try to tell us how to, deal out our peace.
Sictus pacem parabellum.
Ooh.
If you want peace, prepare for war.
Ooh. Yeah, that's why it's
Schrodinger's peace.
Schrodinger's peace. Wow. That's nice. Schrodinger's peace. Wow, that's solid. But I don't know. So when it comes to Revan, all right. Okay. No, go ahead.
That's it. All right, there we go.
Yeah. When it comes to Revan, with everything that we just stated, like, would you put him on? Would you solidly put him on the dark side? Or
no, I would not put him on the dark side. Honestly, say that Revan is one of those people who have actually achieved the level of enlightenment to the point where he is a focal point in the Force. I would, and like I said, and I don't acknowledge Grey Jedi. I don't think that the rogue Jedi idea is a good thing either. But why is she yelling?
Schrodinger's piece was solid. That was so solid.
Taking notes.
It's peaceful until you look at it. Maybe it's there. Maybe it's not. It exists in both. It both exists and doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. There isn't.
So that was such a Toshi, that was such a fire ass line right there.
Bang bang.
Yeah, that Schrodinger's piece. It's crazy. I'm sorry, I'm just mind blown because like when you really think about it, like really that is very, very true. Like peace is only peaceful until you
Under perception.
Yeah, under perception.
Well, that's true, and it's like, for example, also like we're all anime people here.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has seen Gundam Wing or some version of Gundam.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the arguments that they're constantly having in the series is, can peace that's obtained through talking truly be called peace? Like, does a peace always have to result in violence? Does you have to go through violence to obtain peace? As they say, war is like an endless waltz. It's the 3 beats of war, peace, and then revolution.
Did somebody just drop a mic?
That's what it sounded like. That's what it sounded like. And I feel like that fits in perfect. That fits perfectly when it comes to Star Wars. That is literally exactly the cycle. War, peace, revolution, whether it be the light side or the dark side, back into war. Whoever wins, there's peace for a little bit, because when the Sith rule, they see that as peace. Even though peace is a lie. Even though peace is a lie. But to them, that's their shit. That's where they are comfy. That's where they are happy. You know what I'm saying? When the Jedi are in control, that's where they are happy. That's their peace. Right?
As long as Palpatine is sitting in his little chair
and doesn't return again.
I was just about to say that. There best not be another goddamn clone of this motherfucker.
Am I the one who felt like Palpatine gave me creepy pedo vibes? I'm just saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Arise. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
I'm just saying that he spent
one
10
a 9-year-old.
Yeah, he spent 10, 15 years grooming this boy. Like, just
and then
saying.
he was so pissed when he got burnt. So bad.
He said, you burned my toy. No. Like, come on now.
No.
Come on now. And many people were thinking that, were saying that Palpatine was, at first was grooming Anakin to become his new vessel. And he was going to transfer his consciousness into Anakin's young body.
That's a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised, because the question people always said was, if Jedi can be cloned, because this is one of the things they talked about in The Force Unleashed, because it's constantly said that Jedi can't be cloned, and no one's has ever been able to successfully do it because of the metachlorians in their blood being so high. But
that's true. Yeah.
If you've watched The Mandalorian, you know that they were experimenting with metachlorians, putting them in non-force sensitive people.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that they were replicating the metachlorians to bring back the Emperor. So technically you can do that. Now, because the question people always asked was, if that was the case, why didn't Vader just clone himself? He can train a whole apprentice in secret. He can go visit Padme's tomb. He can go and hire Boba Fett to find out who Luke Skywalker was before the Emperor knew, and all this other shit. He couldn't have somehow obtained the materials he needed to clone himself a new body and then transfer his consciousness into the new body. And then the first thing, all he has to do is wake up and kill everyone involved.
Maybe, I feel like he was probably very closely watched by Palpatine. Maybe he knew he couldn't defeat Palpatine alone, or he thought.
But that goes back to what I was saying, because that was supposed to be originally the whole point of Star Killer. But then you find out that they were using him to rally the Emperor's enemies to get them all in one location.
Yeah.
Because according to the games, Star Killer is indirectly responsible for creating the Rebel Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That crest that they use is his family's crest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So
General Com Rhoda.
now, with all that said, when it comes down, so Revan's time is like, so if I remember correctly, so Bane takes place 1,000 years before Episode 1. Thus, Revan's storyline took place, what, another 200 years before Bane's reign? Or more than that?
I thought Revan was alive 1,000 years before Bane.
Yes.
Yes,
Probably
correct.
1,000. Yep, 1,000. Another 1,000 years beforehand. How does his reign end? Revan.
So Revan is captured shortly after regaining his memory, because he's imprisoned by the Emperor, and the Emperor spends the next almost century torturing him and experimenting on him, and to figure out what it is he knows, because the Emperor's council was trying to overthrow him once they realized what he had done to become so powerful in the Force. When they realized that he had enacted that ritual, which sucked all the Force-sensitive energy out of the planet and everyone in the surrounding area and pulled it into himself, the council deemed that he was insane. They couldn't let it ever happen again and try to overthrow him. So Revan, along with a fellow Jedi and an actual Sith Lord by the name of Scourge, go to confront the Emperor, and Scourge betrays them. And in the process of betraying them, Scourge helps capture Revan, and Revan gets imprisoned.
Yeah, I hated that, man.
And
yeah,
every time the Emperor would speak to Revan, it's revealed that, because he would speak to him through the Force, because he was like in a tank. Revan could actually, I'm not sure if it was considered a back to tank or not, but that's what it's implied. It's said that Revan was subtly manipulating him to do what he wanted, so he wouldn't necessarily go to war, because the Emperor was planning to attack the Jedi and try to wipe them all out at once.
Yes, even though Revan was still in like ketosis, literally still manipulating the Emperor.
And the Sith Council were like, yo, we don't have the numbers, we don't have the power, like we're supposed to be operating from the shadows, like they have no idea what we have. Why are we challenging them to a head-on battle? Anytime we challenge them to a head-on fight, it's always an issue. Why would you want to go to Coruscant and attack them? That doesn't even make sense.
because I'm him.
I mean, by all technical terms, he was him, but the rest of them niggas is like, I'm not going on no suicide mission because the man in the chair said so.
No, I wouldn't either, because especially again, when you look at what it means to be Sith, what it mean, like, and again, you learn a lot of this in Bane's storyline. They really kind of like break a lot of it down, what it truly means to be a Sith. It's shadows, it's deceit. You know what I'm saying? It's so for them to be like, yeah, no, we're taking a fight to their doorstep. Yeah, hell yeah. A lot of the other was like, are you sure? Are you sure?
Beg your pardon.
He must be drunk. Get him out.
I'm trying to. All right, so I'm trying to remember because I was going through, I was researching, and I was trying to remember. I'm trying to remember the name of the emperor, of the Sith emperor at the time. It was like Tenebrae, or I think like that was I think it was like Tenebrae or something like that. Or I think they also called him oh wait, I got it right here. Known to the old Sith Empire as Vitate. Vitate. I don't know. His reconstituted Sith Empire as a Sith Emperor, and his eternal empire as the immortal Emperor Valkorion.
Valkorion, he had a lot of names.
Yep, Valkorion was the ancient dark side entity of enormous power who manipulated galactic affairs for nearly 1,500 years. Damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, Valkorion was his name. Emperor Valkorion. Wait, so he's the one that sucked all the life out of his home planet?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So where does Nihilus come in this?
It was
Nihilus.
that Nihilus lost everything during the Mandalorian War.
So Revan used a weapon that crippled the Mandalorian forces, that created a lack of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Resource.
Yes. And it basically caused a lot of strife and turmoil within an area which Nihilus began to feed off of.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process of, and this darkness basically corrupted him from the inside out. And then it literally, the only way he could satiate it was to feed off the life force of other people.
He had hunger.
So he just became Voldemort feeding off the unicorns.
No, more like a vampire feeding off force sensitive people.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Oh wow. He became pretty much a fucking force vampire. That's crazy. Okay, well damn. Now, do Nihilus and Revan come into conflict, or is it just Nihilus is off on his own? Revan, does all this, and Nihilus is out here wreaking fucking havoc.
Well,
Now, see that I don't know.
Yeah. I've never seen them come across each other.
well, who is the individual that attacks Revan with Force Lightning, and Revan shoots it back at them? I thought that was.
No, I don't believe that was Nihilus.
Mm.
Because the view, because Nihilus is a male. The one that Revan gets into a fight with is a female.
Oh yes, you're right.
Because what it sounded from what I was learning about. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, so wasn't that during the breakout?
Maybe. From what I read about Nihilus is that in the end he becomes so strong and powerful in the Force that he literally refuses to die.
And that's why I said give that man a Green Lantern ring.
Yeah, to the point where he fuses his soul or whatever it is to a mask, and then it literally just becomes like a wraith type being.
After his spirit splits in two.
Yeah. Like, and the Jedi really just be trying to fight these niggas.
Mm-hmm.
The Jedi just be trying to fight them.
But nah, man. But this is a test of Revan and his willpower. So when Revan finally actually does die, years later, almost 300 years later, Revan's soul actually splits in two.
Mm-hmm.
To a dark side and a light side, and the dark side was literally trying to resurrect the Emperor just to kill him.
Yeah, and nigga said, oh, y'all killed him? Nah, I'm gonna bring him back so I can kill him. But it was also scared of him that they didn't want him to do it. And then he ended up coming back anyway after Revan was dead. So he just let him do it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Talking about like, yo, that's like that elephant that had so much beef with that chick that after he killed her, he ran down on her funeral, stomped her another 6 feet down, and then destroyed her house. And then every year goes back to her grave to desecrate her grave.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I read about that.
Did you say elephant?
Elephants never forget.
Yeah. So the chick had done something messed up to the elephant. Oh no, I think she had like killed the elephant's kid.
Oh yeah.
The elephant broke into her house, destroyed her house, crushed her to death, and started slinging her body around, playing with her body.
Good for that elephant.
Right? Elephant leaves. They do a funeral for the lady. That same elephant runs down on her funeral, takes her out the coffin, begins to fling her dead body again, and stomp her even again, then leaves, and now every year like makes trips back to her grave to desecrate her grave. That man Revan was his dark side was like
on the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine being that family? Like, what the fuck is with this elephant? Like, leave us alone. Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that man Revan was like, nope. You think death gonna you think death gonna save you from running this fade? You think death's gonna save you from running this fade? Nah, son. Nah. We're running it back. I'm getting my lick back. Alive or dead, I'm getting my lick back. I'll catch you in the force. I'm gonna spin the block on you. That's terrifying, man. And what the light side do? Just stand there like, damn, that's crazy.
This is not my problem.
He ain't
I'm gonna sit over here and sip my cognac.
He most definitely didn't stop him. So I mean,
I definitely see the light side leaning over like, yeah, peace is a lie, right? You think you're gonna die in peace? Nah, he got you. Peace is a lie, right? Shit. But so what are our final remarks on Darth Revan and his reign? Short, so from the time of him donning the helmet, becoming Darth Revan, to him being brainwashed back into the light side, and then him coming back to the dark side. What is the time frame between that? Like, is he Darth Revan running shit for like years and then this happened, or is it like, oh, I'm Darth Revan, Bink get knocked out, and now we running it back?
No, he was on the dark side for several years.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
but it's like
they formed a whole freaking community. Community. That is not the word I was looking for.
Oh.
Coalition.
Maybe that.
Okay. All right. So he was running shit for a while as Darth Revan. So how long was he, Jedi before he returned back to, his got back on his bullshit?
Well,
he didn't have his memories.
So his whole thing was like once he became a Jedi and once he became a Jedi again, and once he defeated Malak. I won't say Malgus. Once he defeated Malak, he realized what was going on. So when he returned home, many people on Coruscant treated him like an outsider. Like, yeah, he's he's cool, but you want to stay away from him. Like, yeah, Revan's a quote unquote hero, but he's also responsible for mad buck wild shit. So we can't really. They acknowledged him, but they ain't fuck with him.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but they also knew better than to cross him. That's why they let him be married. That's why they let him have a family. And then it's revealed in the Revan book that he left. When he left, his wife was pregnant. So he wound up actually fathering a child that he never even met.
No,
Oh,
because
shit.
he left and he got captured for years.
That's right.
And then when they went to say on the mission to save him, the child was still little, so she ain't go on that mission either. And then he died.
Yep.
Who is this child? Do we ever hear anything about them? More?
I don't think so.
I think if I remember correctly, when he wanted to revive the Sith Emperor, wasn't the head of the Jedi one of his descendants or something?
That would be crazy. That would be crazy. Like,
But it would make sense.
I would love a story about the child of Darth Revan.
That's gonna bug me now.
Because, like, you gotta, all right, so, like, a lot of people, like, you really gotta think about it, like, when it comes to in Star Wars, a lot of these stories take place centuries apart from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Not just decades, like whole centuries apart. Some of them even millennia. So, like I want family trees. You know what I mean? Or like a lineage diagram.
Yeah.
Because some of these characters could in fact really end up being like broken as hell. Like, the only true lineage that we know of is the Skywalker and I guess Palpatine now.
Boo.
She's a Skywalker.
What happened?
So that doesn't exist anymore. She's a Skywalker.
We don't talk about no. She hasn't earned that title. She hasn't earned the title of Skywalker.
Skywalker, my balls.
Sorry.
Just because she choked on
grant
Ben
you a
Solo
seat on
doesn't
this
mean she's
council.
a Skywalker.
You don't even get a
Oh my god.
We grant you a seat on the council, but we
No
do
seat.
not grant you the title of
No, she don't get a seat on the council. Fuck that bitch.
no seat.
No.
And I want to clarify that I like Rey well enough, but I still didn't like that.
No,
I don't like her character at all.
And that's my thing. She really honestly could have been a really dope ass character.
Boo.
The writing was absolutely atrocious. Like the writing that they did for those last three films. Okay, maybe not the first one, because the first one was the start of something new. But the next two, the last two of that trilogy, the writing should be illegal. That should be illegal.
That's what happens when you have too many hands in the cookie jar.
Too many chefs in the kitchen.
Thank you, Disney.
Listen, they weren't cooking what they should have been cooking. They wanted to make you think they were baking a cake. What they were doing was slinging black tar heroin. They were there making rock, and they were out there selling it to children and expect them to smoke up and get addicted. All right, that's what they were expecting. That's right, Mouse. Hoo-hoo! Hoo-hoo!
Well, that was quite the metaphor.
I ain't seen nothing that wild since Scar let the hyenas into the Pride Lands. Once again, everything was fine, so Scar had them out there selling rock.
No, you're honestly, you are absolutely right. Absolutely
So
right.
disturbing.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the first movie, I'm like, okay, all right, This is something new. Let's see where it goes.
I'm gonna
Okay. And then everything after that, we got Leia frozen in space, still able to force pull herself back into safety. You got hit. Your shields were down. You took a Star Destroyer blast to the face.
I bet you took a lot of things to the face over the years.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna just mute.
That's probably listen. How fast did he do that? Do the Kepler run? How fast did he do that run? The Kepler run, whatever the hell.
Was it 12 parsecs or whatever?
12 parsecs. Yeah, it was probably quick. That's why she's so old and grumpy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And he was also never around on top of it being quick.
On top of that too.
Oh my god.
Leia
And I'm pretty sure. How long was he in carbonite for?
Oh.
I'm pretty sure being in carbonite for that long would probably affect some things. Just saying.
They don't explain enough.
But nah, oh my god, guys, this has been an amazing episode. This has been awesome. It feels so good to be back.
Yes, I found it.
Like,
I'm sorry, that was bothering me. I found it. Yes.
who was it?
Jedi Grand Master. It was one of his descendants.
Oh.
The one when he wanted to bring the Dark Lord back to life, and both the Jedi Grand Master and the current leader of the Sith was like, nah, that nigga's too dangerous. The Grand Master was one of his descendants. I was like, I'm very sure that was the case. I'm going to find it.
Well, definitely, like, oh man. I'm pretty sure we all can agree that there's so much of Star Wars that hasn't been touched on or talked about that so severely needs to be. We need stories, we need books, we got the books, but apparently now how many of the books are no longer canon? Because the mouse came in and just started slinging his slong around and said no.
The mouse came in and started offering ass. All right, that's what he was doing. All right.
Our dictator did what he always does.
Listen, the mouse is offering his backside to the enemy. That's what he's doing.
Oh, wait, hold up. I'm sorry. I feel bad. I did. We're calling the mouse. I'm sorry. I thought his name was Saphira.
Saphira. Oh my god.
I'm just saying the way he came in there. But let's also not forget that a lot of Walt Disney really worked with a lot of former Nazi generals and lieutenants.
Let's not act like its founder wasn't a former Nazi before he died.
Right. 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 But yeah, the Führer came in.
Now let's see. How many I own books alone. I own about 15 Star Wars books, like novels. Nice. 3 of them are canon.
That's crazy.
I don't have any canon. No, that's a lie. I do have several canon comics, but they were all free comic book day stuff.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be my next question. How many graphic novels? How many comic books?
There are actually a lot of canon comics out now, but
yeah,
most
there's a whole series about Darth Vader.
Yeah, and that was the one when Padme had survived, and he found out she was alive, but kept it secret or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
most of the canon stuff I have comic wise is Luke.
Yeah. I don't know. This is they need to do better.
Bad Batch one at the comic shop the other day, though. Not gonna lie.
Ooh, see, that's another thing I got to get to. See, there's so much Star Wars content that has been out and I haven't caught up on it. I have to watch Andor. I haven't watched Andor yet. I have to watch Skeleton Crew. I have actually not watched any Bad Batch whatsoever.
I finished Bad Batch. Need to watch Andor.
Yeah, I have to
Andor
watch
boring.
Andor still.
Reminds me I need to get back to Kira about Last of Us.
Andor did not hold my attention at all.
At all, or this new season?
No, at all.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing is that the first 2-3 episodes of this new season are like crucial and are like big points, big plot points
That makes
in
sense.
in the original 3 episodes. So I'm like,
Andor is one of those shows that's going to connect us to the New Republic stuff. So
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, this has been an amazing episode. It's again, like I said, it feels so good to be back. We will be back next week, continuing our Star Wars month. Pay attention to everything that's going on our Instagram and our Facebook. Pay very close attention because we have a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out within, honestly, the rest of this year. And it's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind. Here, we try to make sure our episodes are funny, entertaining, but also educational. And I've learned so much this episode.
I learned a couple things.
Yeah. So please stay tuned. We love doing this. We're gonna keep doing it until the lights go out, till we can't do it no more. Toshi, definitely thank you for tuning in. Everybody, please tune in to Melanin Minds Fridays at 5.
5.
Yeah, right. You plug it for him one more time.
Yeah. Oh, I will say right now with the fresh channel, I'm probably gonna be dropping some episodes. There will be some dropping on Friday at 5, but because I put the older episodes on the new channel, stuff will probably be dropping a little more frequently until I'm all caught up, so I can get to the new stuff. So, but yes, Fridays 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. YouTube Melanin Minds 24. We are focusing, highlighting Black women in the comic book and manga space.
Exactly. And honestly, that's absolutely amazing. And again, let's also not forget that she herself is a Black woman in the comic book space, as well as being the co-founder of Midnight Comics. Please definitely go check out their work there as well. If you would like, please, by all means, plug Midnight Comics as well.
Yes. In fact, Roy just fell asleep writing a book. Working on a project. Yes. Midnight Comics. You can find us at midnightcomics.org, where we have several comic books and manga. You can also find us on social media at Midnight X Comics everywhere except for YouTube and Facebook, where we're just Midnight Comics. We're separating out our other brands. Like I said, that's why we have the Melanin Minds YouTube channel. We have the Indie Breakdown separate YouTube channel now, where he's also rolling out all those episodes. So there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they're doing a lot, and again, when it comes to the Indie Breakdown, tune in on Saturdays as well for me and Triage, doing the Indie versus matchup. That is where Lloyd so amazingly sets up the matches throughout the week on on Wednesday. The Nexus matchups are going to be out, and then on Friday, that's when the Reckoning matches are going to be out, and then on Saturday, we will be breaking down both of those battles. So tune in Saturdays at 5:30. Please check out Midnight Comics, check out Melanin Minds, and then on top of that, just stay tuned to the Indie Primetime, because every last one of us in this lineup is amazing, and we're going to be growing. We are most definitely going to be growing. So pay attention, watch out. Some big things is coming. And, as always, book prep time.
Book prep time.
Book prep time.
What was that, Tashi?
I said, I have that shirt. It is a glorious shirt.
Oh, man. We love y'all. We will see y'all next week. And until next time, Peace.
Peace so high.